at this time, we are joined by a guy who has had some great years. The district administrator of Little League Baseball and Softball for District 2. One of my good friends. We bring in Mr. Chet Cooper. Chet, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Thanks for inviting me, TJ. Appreciate being here.
It's an honor. It's an honor because you do so much. People don't realize. I mean, honestly, like I'm not blowing smoke. You do so much for so many kids around our area, not just in our district, but across Little League, softball, and baseball. Like, you've been to the big show. You've umpired games in Williamsport. Talk to me about why you got into this in the first place, why it's so important to you, and why it's so close to your heart still to this day, July 6, 2022.
Well, I'll tell you how I got started. It was when we lived back in League City, Texas. My son was playing Little League Baseball. And DJ, as you well know, parents are a little obnoxious in the stands, right? So I'm trying to be nice. Anyway, so the parents, this is pregame. They're already ranting and raving, and the manager came along and said, hey, we need a base umpire today. And to get out of the stands right away, I literally jumped over the fence to go start umpiring. And, I found it was the best seat in the house. I enjoyed it. You're watching kids play for the pure joy of it. They're just out there playing. They're just being kids. And one thing led to another, and eventually became a certified Little League umpire, and I kept enjoying that. And, I moved into other areas of officiating as well as Little League, high school officiating, and it's still all about the kids. It's just watching them play, and, it's just a lot of fun. It's just watching the pureness of the game. It's not, stained with money and things like that, like professional sports are. And I just do it because, I've learned all these years, it's one little thing that can affect the life of a young person. So you always try to do something positive for a young person, and they'll remember years from then.
And I'm sure they do all the time. How many kids do you have? I guess maybe not kids anymore. How many adults do you have coming up to you and talking about the days that you umpired them, and you're still an umpire to this day? You can see Chet all over the place, whether it's on a Little League diamond or whether it's on a big boy diamond down at Scene Park. How often do you get those conversations with kids you umpired?
This look at Dan Bertolini, the YSU head coach. I remember him from high school. In college and Scene Park, and he keeps coming up, and we have these chats that, we get a little nostalgic, and it's things like that just, you look at Dan Bertolini, look at what he's done. Look where he's at in his life. He's very successful, has a very nice family, and is working really hard and having some success. And you sit back and you think, in some way, hopefully positively, you contributed to that. And so that's what the satisfaction comes from. And that's just one of a number of occasions when people come up to you. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
Chet, you talked about how it's when you're doing these games, these Little League games, these youth games, it is so, and we're getting some love in for you. So Mark Ross says Chet is one of the best around, and I think everybody feels the same way. But when you're doing these youth games, I think a lot of speculation is way off base. I mean, these umpires that you have for the districts are doing this for no money, just for the love of the game and to be around these kids and to be around the atmosphere. Why is it so important, on behalf of those umpires, on behalf of those guys, why is it so important to be involved and not worry about a paycheck?
They do it for the same reason that I do it. It's for the love of the kids, the love of the sport. Try to, have some teaching moments to make sure that they have a safe and wonderful place to play and to have a positive experience, and how to learn to win and lose. And, umpires are there just to make sure that everything's balanced, right? And, in our district games, as you've already mentioned, all my umpires are volunteer umpires. And they just jump at the situation. In fact, I'll tell you a story that happened last night. One of the umpires in the softball, and I won't name him because I don't want to embarrass him, but he came up to me after the game and said, Chad, I really love this, and I wanted to tell you, and I'm not telling you for any specific reason, but I wanted to tell you how much this means to me. I committed to come do this game tonight, and I got a phone call yesterday to come do a Pony League doubleheader for $100 per game.
Wow.
And I declined it immediately because not only did I make a commitment to you, which is, I appreciate that, but he said, this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to come umpire some baseball games tonight. Actually, it was softball last night. But, that's the kind of person we have volunteering their time on our diamonds in the district play and in the state play when we get a state tournament as well. So that's the basic answer to your question.
So I think what I've been most impressed with is you have an expectation for players, for coaches, and for fans when they walk through there and they're attending these games for youth and for Little League. What are those expectations and why are they so important to you and so important to the area, District 2, when we're talking about representation?
Well, my expectations are for the players, go out and play hard. Just play hard. Win or lose, go out and have fun. For the managers and coaches, I expect people to teach the right thing and be positive role models for their players, not just their players, but the players across the way in the other dugout. And for parents, DJ, you probably know this from televising a number of the games you guys do. Sometimes the fans get a little out of hand, right? And no, come on, really, DJ? You've never seen that? I could tell you all kinds of stories, but this year during the district manager meeting, well, actually, I probably should start out with the high school rules meeting at state in Columbus this year, where the head chief umpire said, we're done with misbehaving parents. If there's no control over those parents, you write a report to me, and I'm going to contact the schools and tell them if they don't get it under control, they will no longer have high school umpires at their games. That's how serious it's become. So when we had our district meeting, I told the managers, this is the year we're going to make a change. Everybody's going to be behaving. And that includes the fans. And what I expect to see from the fans is not only cheering for their team, but cheering for the other team as well, because that's what's really important. It's important for these kids, both boys and girls, to have a positive experience, particularly after the last couple of rough years we've had in this country, right? So those are kind of my expectations. And I'm pleasantly surprised at this point how well the district tournaments have run. They've been peaceful, no issues whatsoever so far. Knock on wood, okay? Because we got a week to go. But I'm very pleased, very, very pleased so far with the district tournament. I hope that answers your question too.
100%.
Okay.
One of the things, Chet, is with those expectations, you have to always expect change, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We know you as the guy for our Little League representation around here. We've heard the changes are going to be taking place in Little League. Steve and Keener coming out with possibly the quote unquote open enrollment. Can you talk us through that? You can give us your opinion if you'd like. If you want to stay on the fence, you're more than welcome to. But we have our opinions of that. There's open enrollment in high school now in most high schools. How do you feel about this? Is the biggest change we've seen in Little League in probably a quarter of a century?
Yeah, this is going to be a big deal if it comes to fruition, and it's still out there for discussion among the Little League board. What is planned is to allow potential players from outside boundaries already established, if they have not played Little League before, they can choose the league they wish to play in. Okay. Um, that has its good points and bad points. The good point is we definitely will get more kids to play, particularly those that don't currently live in a boundary. The bad part is kids are going to go to the more attractive leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to hurt the smaller leagues in my district as well as across the country. So we're going to have to figure out, if this does come to fruition, how we're going to address those issues. The other issue people don't think about, and I start to see it happen because we already have a mechanism where we have what we call out-of-boundary waivers. There's a kid, for whatever good reason, wants to move from one league to another, or some other situation where we can waiver them into a league. These kids have like what we call red shirt waivers, where they can come into the league, but they can't play on a tournament team in their first year. Well, some people are starting to get a little apprehensive about that, because some of these players that are wavering in are actually really good players. They're going to displace the players that are already within the boundaries on the tournament team. So there's issues we're going to have to deal with. I kind of see the big picture of it. What we want is to get more kids into this Little League program, which I believe is, the premier youth organization in this country and actually across the world. But how we're going to do this in this proposed mechanism, I think we have to figure out some of the details, where the guardrails are going to be, and how we don't damage our current recreational leagues.
Okay, so as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's Little League sanctioned tournaments and like the ones you're in right now, and then there's others that are not. They're not Little League. So like for East Palestine, for instance, I don't believe they're under Little League sanction. So
no.
Would a player from East Palestine be able to either have one of those waivers or be able to move leagues in Boardman if this is passed?
Yeah, they if it's passed, if they've never played Little League, they could
Little League sanction or Little League across all facets. I guess
all facets. Okay. They could potentially request to join Poland, Austintown, Boardman, Canfield, any of those leagues, and join. The thing is, I know there's people out there thinking, man, we have this travel team, we're just going to transfer it all. It doesn't work that way, okay? Because when you waiver in, you can't waiver in a team, because the kids have to be drafted on the teams, okay?
Yep.
So, if you got 5 good players on a travel team and you waive them in, all the managers in that league who have teams have a shot at drafting those. So they're not all going to go on the same team. And so that will not happen. At least I hope that doesn't happen, okay?
I love it.
And I'm all for more competition, but I think we also have to understand what Little League is about and not lose those principles, which is, this is about the kids, okay? Regular season is about playing, having fun, learning some skills, having friendships, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, developing. The competition part, it's great so long as we keep it in perspective. And I hate to beat the drum a little bit, DJ, but the people don't keep it into perspective are the people outside the fences.
100%.
Yeah.
So, you're not surprising anybody with that. We've had that conversation many times.
Yes.
Interesting. So what I loved last night was a rule that I completely forgot about, was the rule of, if you have players on your bench, they have to play at least one at bat, and if they're under 13, they've got to play 2 innings consecutively in the field, which I love. But what I now love is the kind of, I don't want to say it's a change of the rule, but they moved it a little bit, where if you have 13 or more, you only have to have the one at bat. So it encourages coaches to carry more players, to have more kids on their teams, to be part of these teams and the extra, the all-star tournaments and district tournaments, things like that. That's a brilliant move. And I think that's fantastic. I don't want to say more people should get involved in that, but other leagues, I mean, you look at this, that should be a rule of some sort in basketball and football and things like that, where you're getting involved and there's incentives for coaches to carry more players because they're not being penalized by having to play them necessarily 2 innings in the field. Because you and I both know, Chet, that if a coach has a way to give themselves an advantage in a tournament setting, they're going to do it. So if they only if they carry 10 and they only have to play 10, that's all they're going to carry, knowing that there's no vacations, anything like that. But, allowing kids to be kids is something that I believe has come and gone already for most of these coaches. Now it's just about baseball. They don't care about when your vacations are planned, all that stuff. You've been around this game for a long time. The rule changes seemingly are well thought out for the most part for Little League. Why is it that Little League always gets it seemingly right on the head every single time?
Well, because if you got to know their staff, they sit and think about this quite seriously. They actually, I'm on the international advisory board for Little League baseball and softball. So there's a board comprised of about 15 of us, and we meet once a year and we go over things like this, these proposed rule changes or safety issues, and so they're getting their opinions. The Little League administration's getting opinions from us from all over the country of what's probably right and what's probably wrong. And then they have others, they have their actual board of trustees, our directors actually, that, they revisit this. They ask experts, this is how the pitching rule came about, only so many pitches. It went from innings to pitches, right? Yep. And the reason being is, they started thinking about safety. They got pediatricians involved, people who are experts in, muscles and bones of young people. And that's how they came up with the pitch count, which is more a safety issue is a better way of pitching rather than just counting innings. But the point I'm trying to make is, there's a hierarchy and everything bubbles up to the top. And by the time they make a decision, they have about all the information they can to make a informed decision on what to change and what not to change.
Well, thank you. I love all the changes. It sounds like it's just boots on the ground. You listen to the people that are there, that are witnessing it, that are hearing from parents, hearing from coaches, hearing from players. Yeah. And you, my friend, are our boot on the ground, and we couldn't thank you enough. Chet Cooper, District Administrator of District 2, a guy that I'm sure will be on YSN frequently over the next week or so. You'll see him handing out the banners, the flags last night. You did it again. Chet, on behalf of all of us at YSN and everybody that watches, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of it. It's our
Absolutely. I'm glad you're there, and I want to continue to congratulate you and your staff. They're doing a fine job. I'm out here at Canfield right now. Your announcer called a great game. He has a great radio voice. I just want you to know.
Okay. Giuliano, that's right.
Yeah.
Is it raining out there? It's pouring here.
No, it's kind of sunny. It's a little cloudy, but it's sunny. So don't send it. Don't send it, DJ. No, I don't want it.
We'll see you in a little bit, brother. Thank you so much.
Okay, have a good. See you soon. Bye-bye.
There he goes, Chet Cooper, the legend, one of my favorites of all time, a guy that has the best interest of the kids in the game at heart. And if you don't know him, you need to, because he is honestly one of my favorite guys and a huge advocate for YSN and why I get to go, Scotty, and do some more Little League Baseball at 12U tonight. I'm excited about 6 and 8 o'clock right here on the network.